Hello Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and Halloween is nearly upon us, so I find it appropriate that we find ourselves today talking about Pokemon number 497, that being Rotom. Rotom is an unusual spectre, a ghastly poltergeist that possesses things. It's made of plasma and it's so bizarre that I have to bring in a Rotom expert for this video, that being Mr. Gameboy Luke. Gameboy Luke, seriously, that is such an anticlimactic name.
You're right guys, this is Gameboy Luke here, and here I am today with Birdkeeper Toby to present not just one, but two theories. Two theories about Rotom. So once you're done over here, go ahead and click the link in the description, which will take you to my channel, where you can find the second theory that we did about Rotom potentially meaning to be a legendary Pokemon. But first, let's discuss the theory we have about Rotom over here. Now some of you guys may have heard something like this before. I know I've been tweeted at it by a couple of you guys also, but have you ever looked at Rotom and then looked at Shuppet and thought, these two look really similar? As you can see from the picture on screen now, you can see how Rotom is said to look like Shuppet when you pair it with the Reaper Cloth. However, there may be more truth to this than you actually realise.
So the first obvious thing that might get someone to consider this theory is that the designs of the Pokemon are very similar. They both represent ghostly spheres that float and have a pointy thing on their head. Ah, of course, there you go, theory confirmed, but that's not everything. In fact, the differences in the Pokemon's design may also be worth looking at. And all we have to do is look at some Pokedex entries to see that Shuppet is taller and heavier than Rotom. Now we can attribute this to the cloth that is supposedly on its head, most likely the Reaper Cloth. The Reaper Cloth is an item that we already know has ghost transforming abilities, as it's the item that you have to give to Desclops to evolve it. And not only does that mean that the Reaper Cloth is the most likely candidate for the cloth that's covering Shuppet, but also the fact that the Reaper Cloth and Shuppet are the exact same colours. Take your Rotom, drape a Reaper Cloth over it, and what you end up with is a Pokemon that is taller as a result of cloth dangling below it, and heavier for the fact that the cloth actually weighs something. So we can explain their look, height, weight, and type with this theory, and as a bonus point, both Shuppet and Rotom are in the same egg group. Not only that, but have you ever noticed that Shuppet's shiny form kind of looks like it's being illuminated by the plasma that's inside? No? Just me? I'm just saying.
Obviously, another major difference between Rotom and Shuppet is the lack of electric typing with Shuppet, but the Reaper Cloth may explain why there's some kind of type loss. Many fiberglass cloths are used for heat and electrical insulation, and for those that are unaware, you could potentially have some kind of fiberglass insulation between your walls or in your attic or even your basement. If the Reaper Cloth was made of this material, it could explain why Rotom loses its electric typing and makes it a pure ghost type. However, Shuppet does still have some kind of electrical presence, as it can still learn some electric type moves, such as Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Shockwave, and Charge Beam, which is 5 electric type moves, only 2 less than what Rotom can learn. Which, unlike a handful of ghost types, is kind of weird.
It seems pretty likely that we can confirm this theory, because these Pokemon are almost definitely related, but there's one bit of evidence that I think outshines the rest. Rotom is a Pokemon that likes to possess. Washing machines, fans, lawnmowers, whatever Rotom can get its plasma-filled body into, it will possess. But you don't see Shuppet pulling any of that stuff. Or do you? Let's assume that everything in the theory so far is true and that Rotom finds itself trapped underneath a Reaper Cloth. It becomes a Shuppet, but still with that desire to playfully possess things, it has to possess the only thing it can now, bound to a material. A doll.
Banette is the evolved form of Shuppet. Both it and Rotom are based off the Japanese law Tsukumogami. This law basically explains that if an inanimate object lives a shelf life of over 100 years, it receives a soul. This could be a household appliance such as a washing machine, which suits Rotom, or even just a toy or doll, which suits Banette. The Tsukumogami are also described to be quite mischievous, and they like to play pranks and stuff. If you've ever seen Rotom and Shuppet in the anime, you'll know that this kind of personality suits Rotom and Shuppet to a T. The fact that these two Pokemon are based off of the same folklore, partnered with everything else we've mentioned in this video so far, this surely can't be a coincidence.
But of course, we're always interested to know what you think of this theory in the comments below, and not just this theory about Rotom. There is another theory about Rotom over on Luke's channel right now. It's live and it's about how Rotom was originally intended to be a legendary Pokemon in Sinnoh. So, as always, Pokemon Masters, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the other side.
You're so stupid.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.